Hey, how's it going? Yeah, so this time I'm going to do a video on a topic I've been thinking about since I started making videos. I think it's coming up on 6 years. Uh, and even before, I would watch these cheap heat videos people would make. And yeah, I've been wanting to do this for years, and finally got myself around to picking out some albums, finding a slight theme, uh, and we'll see how it goes. Part of the reason I feel a little compelled to do this video or this type of video, I feel like lately, however long lately is, I mean, maybe even like the last couple years, at least the channels I tend to watch, I see so many records that are being shown that to me are just out of reach. Um, yeah, I'm not going to spend 150 bucks on a record, stuff like that. And so I feel like I've been seeing more and more of that. Yeah, over the last so many months, year or two, even. That's what I'm noticing. So the guy, I think his name is Dave, right? El Bicho Feo, who is famous for his cheap heat videos. I mean, when one of his videos pops up, his cheap heat videos, yeah, it's refreshing. Uh, and yeah, there are a lot of good records out there that are very cheap, uh, considering how things are these days. And I'm going by, I mean, I kind of still don't consider 20 bucks cheap, but 20 bucks or less. I think a lot of these are definitely could be found for in the $10 to $15 range. And I'm basing this mainly on my own experience from buying these and just seeing them around in stores. I really don't like to use Discogs, but a couple of them I did look up just to be sure I'm not showing $30, $40 records. And a couple of them I had to put back because I thought they would be cheap, but they're not. So yeah, let's get started. Is what's playing in the background will be the first record. Oh yeah, 80s jazz. Yeah, this one is going to be just 80s jazz albums. And we'll start with a Nimbus title. Curtis Clark, Amsterdam Sunshine. Recorded in November of 1984. Studio 50 or Studio 44 in Monster, Holland. This is a quintet. Curtis Clark is a pianist. He has at least 3, maybe 4 albums on Nimbus starting in the late 70s. This one I really enjoy. And yeah, he's got a quintet, but they don't all play on the same tracks. There's a couple of solo piano pieces and a piano bass duet. And the rest of the band is Curtis Clark plays piano, Michael Moore, American, on alto, not the documentary filmmaker, and Don Mumford drums. And then there are 2 Dutch players, Ernst Reisiger on cello and Ernst Glerum bass violin. And this is for a song on the album. Daniel / Amsterdam Sunshine. Yeah, really nice album. Nimbus. This might be $10, I think, which for a Nimbus release is pretty good. I was thinking about the Horace Tapscott solo piano stuff that came out. They were all recorded in the 80s, 81, 82. But some of those are up and down. It could be more than $20. So, yeah, Curtis Clark, Amsterdam Sunshine. And I tried to get a mixture of some straight stuff, some stuff that's a little more avant or improvisational, like there's a lot of Billy Bang from the 80s, and this is the one I feel like is cheap. It's always cheap. I see this a lot. Probably the most common one, Outline number 12, on the Celluloid label. And this was recorded July of 82. And there's a large band on here. 3 violinists, Billy Bang, Jason Huang, and Joseph Hales. Frank Lowe plays soprano, Wilbur Morris bass, Charles Tyler, Henri Warner, and David Murray on clarinets. Murray plays bass clarinet. Khan Jamal on vibes, Sonny Murray on percussion, and John Fuller also on percussion. And this was arranged by Butch Morris. Yeah, a lot of players. This is this is a really good one because it's all compositions written by Billy Bang, but they improvise around this, and yeah, it's just a really, really solid album. And there's a song on here, it might be the second song, Outline number 12, where the beginning must be violins. It kind of sounds like that when you go to the movie, the THX thing they would show, similar to that, not as of a dramatic of a build-up, but similar to that. Another one, I feel like I was going to say something and I forgot. I don't know, we'll see. A few videos ago, it must have been last year, I was showing something on Moores, I think Ronald Shannon Jackson, and Chris, John Coltrane 68, asked, do I have this album? And I said, no, I've never seen it. And again, the ESP works with him, man. With a couple weeks later, 2 or 3 weeks later, I saw this Afro Algonquin with Rashid Ali, Lee Rosie, and Rick Rosie on Moores, recorded in May of 1980 in Germany. And yeah, this is just a trio, bass, drums, and sax. Lee Rosie plays the saxophones, tenor, soprano, and flute, and also participates on percussion. And Rick Rosie plays bass. I don't think it's an electric bass, but sometimes it sounds like it. This is a very fusion-y type record without any electric instruments, I think. And when I found this is maybe towards the higher range. This was $18, I think. But yeah, killer stuff. The Rosie brothers, I'm guessing, are Native American based on the title of this album. And there they are. Yeah, really, really good one. While Dancing with the Dolphins, I remember. That's a good one. Spirit of Starlight. Yeah, these are mostly originals. There's a song, well, they do a very short version of Fever. So yeah, Moores, a lot of cheap stuff on the Moores label. Another one from '87 This is Put Up the Fight, John Chakai. John Chakai, most of his stuff isn't very cheap, but this one I think you can get for 10, 8 to 12 bucks, something like that. Put Up the Fight, 1987, with I believe his band here is they're all Danish. Yeah, recorded in Copenhagen, November 10th through 14th, 1987. There's a lot of songs on here, 6 songs, but each side is pretty long. And there's synthesizer, Chakai plays tenor, soprano, bass clarinet, a little bit of vocals. I love his voice. It's almost a spoken word type, not really singing. And he does some synthesizer, Bent Clausen, vibraphone, Peter Danstra, bass guitar synthesizer, Ollie Romer, drums, various percussion, and guitar on one track. Yeah, really nice. It's got an 80s production, but I'm not put off by that. Yeah, this is a really good one. John Chakai. 1987, Put Up the Fight. And another one, I can't believe this thing is not more well known. It's Jimmy Stewart and Kuntu on the Cadence label. Jimmy Stewart plays alto. Is that all he plays? Yeah, alto exclusively on this. And this is a wild ride. Yeah, I believe it's an octet. And I don't know any of the side musicians here. Charles Townsend, violin, cello, Clarence Bradley, trumpet, Jeffrey Reed, alto sax, baritone sax, bass clarinet, Joanne Salzman, flute, Lamar Prince drums, Chris Ferris bass, and Ed Watkins percussion. There they are. I don't know any of these people, but this is a wild ride. This is on the freer side, and it's just really, really excellent. I found this, I think 5 or 6 years ago. It was $4. So I can't imagine it being much more than that now. Yeah, Jimmy Stewart. And as far as I know, this is the only thing he recorded. This is his entire career right here. Excellent stuff. Definitely worth it if you're more into the free stuff. And this one, it's not a traditional jazz record at all. It's a string quartet, the Black Swan Quartet, 1980. When was this recorded? Doesn't have a specific. Oh, June 1985, New York City, on the Minor Music label. And this is a string quartet consisting of Akbar Ali, violin, Abdul Wadud, cello, Eileen Folsom, cello, and Reggie Workman, bass. Black Swan Quartet. Yeah, so this is all strings, all original? Nah, maybe not. Oh yeah, they do Prelude to a Kiss and Double Up. I know Lee Morgan did that. Did he write that? Yeah, really good. Like I said, it's not necessarily jazz, but the musicians on here are associated with jazz. Yeah, just a string quartet. Really nice, lovely. Keeps your attention. They're about, looks like 8 tracks on here. Side 2 has 3. Libation Suite is 20 minutes. And then the rest of the album is shorter songs. Black Swan Quartet. Um, Dollar Brand has a lot of albums from the 80s, and this one, of the ones I have, I'd say is my favorite. Zimbabwe, Abdullah Ibrahim, Dollar Brand, 1983, May 29th, 1983. Oh yeah, and I'm basing all this on, this is what I meant to say earlier, recorded in the 80s, not recorded earlier in the 80s and released in the 80s. It's stuff recorded in the 80s. So yeah, this was May 29, 1983, with the ever-present Carlos Ward on flute and alto, Essiet Okun Essiet bass, and Don Mumford again on drums. Man, this is, I mean, Abdullah Ibrahim is one of my favorites. I put him up there. But yeah, this quartet, and Dollar Brand plays soprano, sax, as well as piano. This thing is a good one. Yeah, Dollar Brand. And there's one on the Enja label, Michelle Rosewoman, Quintessence. She had, I think, at least 2, maybe 3 Enja albums. This one is from 87, recorded January 1987, and a lot of young up-and-comers on this. Steve Coleman is on alto, Greg Osby, soprano and alto, Anthony Cox bass, and Terry Lynn Carrington drums. And here they are. And this one is, this is pretty straight. Michelle Rosewoman writes everything on here, 7 tracks. Really nice playing, really nice songwriting. There's a little write-up on the musicians here. And I remember Greg Osby, he had an album in the 90s, I think, late 90s on Blue Note, The Invisible Hand. I remember seeing that CD everywhere. But all this time, I thought he was from the UK. But it says in the notes he's from St. Louis, and I thought, how could I have been so wrong on him? But yeah, Michelle Rosewoman, really good album. Hard bop, post bop kind of stuff. Thoughtful compositions. Solid solos. So that's it. I think she's out of Oakland. And that's cheap. And this other one, this could be somewhere in the $15 to $20 range. But I love this record. Earlier this year, I was listening to this record constantly. Hugh Reagan Trio, Metaphysical Question. Oh, man. With John Lindberg on bass, Thurman Parker on percussion. Lindberg was in the string trio of New York with Billy Bang. There's some cheap stuff too. I don't have any of it, but I know they're cheap. This Hugh Reagan. Last year when I went to Buffalo, I got a Roscoe Mitchell album that Hugh Reagan is on, and I forgot about this album. The highlight of this is on side 2, it kicks off side 2, is a long version of Ornette's Lonely Woman. Does it have the time on here? 14 and a half minute Lonely Woman with just a trio. And man, I could not get enough of that earlier this year. I was playing side 2 just over and over. And it's 4 tracks altogether. Metaphysical Question, that's another long one, and variations on Paganini's Perpetual Motion. And side 2 is Lonely Woman, and then Fanfare and March. Says this composition is dedicated to the special energy achieved by John Coltrane and Pharoah Sanders. You know what? We got this Curtis Clark going. glad I put on the Hugh Reagan. So yeah, the cheap heat. This idea of spending. I mean, I know people want what they want. So if an album they want is $200, then they're willing to spend it. But sometimes I feel like, are people spending this much money on a single record just to have it? I don't know. That might be a conversation for another time, but the psychology of things, like sometimes I think if I spend $30 on a record, that's a lot. So when I do spend that much, I sometimes wonder, okay, am I going to be prone to liking this more than I actually do because I spent so much money on it? I don't know. It's just a thing to ponder for me. But yeah, here is Hugh Reagan and Lonely Woman. Did I mention he plays trumpet? Trumpet, piccolo trumpet, and flugelhorn. I hope this doesn't get blocked. Well, a few more to go here. Already 22 minutes. Here's a cheap About Time label. Willem Breuker Collective. This is October 31st, 1983, recorded in New York, Halloween. This is a nonet, 9 instruments, and mostly horn. You got piano, bass, drums, but then 6 horns, or 3 saxophones, 2 trumpets, and a trombone. You got Andre Goodbeek, Martin Van Noorden on saxes, Andy Altenfielder, Boy Raymakers trumpet, and Bernard Hooningkink trombone. Henk de George piano, Arjen Gorder bass, Rob Verderman drums. I only know Gutbeck and Breuker on this. Yeah, on the About Time label, has that Abdullah album. Here's the label. This is, like I said, a nonet, and you can tell. It's very explosive. And this actually is an album that may not be for everyone. Like I said, it's really explosive, and you just hear everything going on. It's very loud for the most part. It almost sounds sometimes more than 9 instruments. But the playing is really good. The writing is really good. There's some loud saxophones and trumpets on here. Yeah, good one. 1983 on About Time. And I was going to break this up possibly into 2 because I have 20 albums, but yeah, I'm just going to keep going. I'm almost there. We'll make it quick. Vinnie Golia Quintet, The Gift of Fury. 9 Winds label. And this was recorded in 81 in Santa Barbara. Yeah, June 6, 1981. Porter Hall at Westmont College, Santa Barbara, with Nels Cline. Or no, I'm sorry, this was produced by Nels Cline. Alex Klein is on here. Roberto Miranda on bass. Wayne Peet, piano. John Rapsone, trombone, and Vinnie Golia, various reeds. Yeah, very nice. This has the same thing with the Michelle Rosewoman I forgot to mention the Michelle Roseman. There's a Cecil Taylor, Thelonious Monk thing going on. Cecil Taylor more than others, and this is a Cecil Taylor influence also. 6 songs. He has a couple of the cheap albums from the 70s, late 70s, on this Nine Winds album or label. I think this label was started by Roberto Miranda and Nels Cline. I saw Vinny Golia, Alex and I playing with Bobby Bradford last year. Excellent show. He was, I guess it was a baritone, or maybe he wasn't a very tall guy, but that baritone sax looks huge in front of him. Another one on the Landmark label, Orrin Keep News, is Yusef Lateef in Nigeria. I'm surprised this is cheap too, because this is excellent. It's basically, like the title says, it's recorded in Nigeria, and it's him and about 5 percussionists, and he plays tenor sax, flute, various flutes, bamboo flute, and does some wordless singing. The tenor sax is actually pretty dominant throughout this. Every song he starts off with the tenor, then moves on to one of the flutes. Yeah, heavy on the percussion. Recorded in 1983, July 19th, 1983 in Lagos, Nigeria. He has a number of albums in the 80s that are cheap. I think after this he went to Atlantic, like Yusef Lateef's A Little Symphony, Nocturnes. Yeah, all good. Another Moors and something else. James Blood or Ulmer, Freelancing, Columbia, 1981. Anyone who's into Ornette Coleman's music and doesn't know this should get this. Yeah, this is real cheap. I've seen this around for $6. You got Amin Ali on bass, Calvin Weston drums, Ronnie Drayton on guitar, second guitar, David Murray's on a couple songs, Oliver Lake, Oli Dara on trumpet. Yeah, really nice one, Columbia 1982. And another Moors, this is cheap, this is an excellent one, with David Murray, Amin Ali, and Ronald Shannon Jackson. 4 songs, this is an awesome fusion album. I mean, you could probably find this for $12. Music Revelation Ensemble, No Wave. James Blood Ulmer. Another one that's a little on the world side, but there's jazz influence on here, jazz musicians on here. Trilok Gurtu on the CMP label. This is recorded in various dates, 87, 88. This has Ralph Towner on guitar, Don Cherry, trumpet, Shankar, violin, Daniel Goyon, piano and keyboards, I don't know, Jonas Hellborg, bass, Walter Quintas on tambura. Yeah, this is kind of a new agey feel to the jazz, but still it's got that kind of underlying jazz thing happening. I'm trying not to get too into this. But yeah, Indian instruments along with Western instruments. Trilok Gurtu, cheap, $10 maybe. Another one. James Spalding. Didn't put out very many albums on his own, but this one on Muse. Brilliant Corners with Wallace Roney, Mulgrew Miller, Ron Carter, and Kenny Washington. This was November 25th, 1988. He does, or they do, I think there's 8 songs. Half of these are Monk. Brilliant Corners, Let's Cool One, Reflections, I Mean You, Ask Me Now. Well, 5, Little Rudy Tooty, 6. And they also do Little Willie Leaps and Down With It. I mean, I've talked about Spalding many times early on. Yeah, he seems to be, I mean, for me, he's one of my favorite, not just musicians, but people that I have this image of how he is. And he looks pretty happy there, but don't let that turn you off, Jim. Yeah, really good. Again, just kind of straight ahead in that hard bop mode, but interesting regardless. There we go. Yeah, on Muse, 1988. And we'll end this with a few albums on the Contemporary label. I'm surprised this is cheap. I saw this a few months ago somewhere, and it was $15. Billy Higgins, Bridge Work on Contemporary. Man, this is fantastic. It's 2 different bands. Half of this is Higgins drums, Harold Land on sax, tenor sax, Cedar Walton piano, Buster Williams bass. The other side is James Clay on tenor, Cedar Walton, and Tony Dumas on bass. And half of these was recorded in early 1980, and the other half was 1986. Yeah, really good stuff. Some of his other stuff on like the Red label. I can't remember what else. I have another one. The Riva label, they're not so cheap, but this surprisingly is cheap. Great cover there. There's Mr. Higgins. Yeah, what do you say about this? I mean, again, this isn't necessarily out. It's just really good hard bop jazz. I mean, with these players, Cedar Walton, you got Cedar Walton on it, Harold Land. You gotta go for it. And, oh no, there's one more down here. Frank Morgan, the alto saxophonist, had about 7 or 8 albums on Contemporary during the 80s. They're all cheap. I have 2 of them. This is Lament and Bebop Lives, live at the Village Vanguard. This Lament is, I think, his 2nd album on Contemporary. This is a quartet, just piano, bass, drums, and him. Cedar Walton, Buster Williams, Billy Higgins. And Frank Morgan, he made an album as a leader in 1955, and then not another one until 1985, I believe, 30 years, because he was in and out of prison. He had a lot of problems dealing with drugs, and he finally got himself together and resumed his career in the 80s while he was in his 60s. This is a nice one. This pretty much is, the whole thing is kind of mellow, ballady, except for the last song on the album, Half Nelson, Charlie Parker. But he does Ciora, Lee Morgan, and Lament, J.J. Johnson. Yeah, really nice record here. And this Bebop Lives is more in the vein of bebop, hard bop, with Johnny Coles, Cedar Walton, Buster Williams, Billy Higgins. And this is pretty smoking. Little Melanie, Jackie McLean, they do that. All the Things You Are, What Is This Thing Called Love, Parker's Mood, Well You Needn't, Monk is always there. And this was recorded at the Vanguard in 1986, December. And he was one of these alto players in the 50s who was highly touted as being a successor to Bird. I think that album in 1955 came out right after Bird died. And he just spiraled down, and 30 years off the scene. And one more here. This is on the Edge, 34 minutes. Sorry. I was trying to not show any ECM, but this is one I don't see a whole lot. Urban Bushman Art Ensemble of Chicago. This was recorded in 1980 in Germany, I believe. Whereas America House, Munich, Germany, May of 1980. Double album, ECM. This is around $20. You should be able to find this for $20, especially if the condition is nice and worn, like this one. Art Ensemble of Chicago. I mean, people know this, but to me, I love this whole thing, but this is worth it just for side 3 with the tracks New York is Full of Lonely People, Ancestral Meditation, and Uncle. Uncle is the first part, and it concludes on side 4. But man, that side, New York is Full of Lonely People. Yeah, an ECM. 1980 Art Ensemble, 36 minutes. I was thinking, maybe 22. So there you go. Cheap Heat, 1980s jazz. Hope you enjoyed that. Everyone take care.